Hello, Sagittarius. How are you? I hope you are doing well. Please don't mind my voice. I woke up like 20 minutes ago. And I wanted to do these 4 readings in the morning and just get them out of the way and edit them and upload them so I can have the rest of my day and enjoy my day off, because today is my day off, but I wasn't able to finish everything yesterday. So, yeah. So we're going to be going over what you need to be expecting for the week of June 24th. This can apply to sun, moon, or rising in your sidereal, tropical, or progress chart, and you can find all of that on astro.com. If you like the video, if it resonates with you, comment down below, like the video, share, subscribe. I think there's like a bell as well, but I'm not even going to bother pushing that, so okay. And if you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Instagram and Twitter at sinfulpluto. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can find me at sinfulpluto.com and you can book a reading there. Make sure to read through all of the product, or not the product, but like the listing descriptions, because if not all of the information that you need is there. So just look through that. It's not that much, I promise, but just go through it, okay? And I think that is it. So, Sagittarius, what do we have in store for you the week of June 24th? By the way, I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot, if you're wondering. Alright, what's in store for Sagittarius? What is in store for Sagittarius the week of June 24th? Okay. King of Pentacles, that fell out right now. King of Pentacles. So this talks about being very reliable, being very dependable. What was going on for you last week? Last week. Oh my goodness gracious. Last week we were talking about how someone kind of really broke your heart. Someone really broke your heart and turned you into a bit of an ice queen. But there was still human in you. That's what we were talking about. And this was someone that you needed to walk away from. This is definitely someone that you had to walk away from. And so now, this week, I guess you were coming through as the King of Pentacles. Someone reliable, someone very grounded and practical. We have the Five of Pentacles reversed. So I do see that there is a bit of a transformation in terms of you warming up a bit. I think this week you guys are warming up a bit and you're kind of opening your doors up, or you're starting to, or you're being encouraged to open your doors up again. And what I mean by that, I mean just opening up your heart and no longer closing yourself off, because I do think you've been closing yourself off for a while. And so I think this week was the perfect opportunity to basically go through the process of healing, essentially. To not only go through the process of healing, but to open up about the stuff what was going on and welcome people into your home. What I think specifically of when I see the Five of Pentacles reversed is of a rose blooming rather than withering. So I just see a lot of light and a lot of stability coming into your life, and I think that you're beginning to feel so much more grounded. You're beginning to feel so much more in touch with yourself and in touch with the earth and in touch with the tangibility of your life, I guess you could say. Not necessarily having an existential crisis, but more so realizing that you are human and you're not superhuman and that you can't handle everything in the world, if that kind of makes sense. And so I do think that you are kind of just coming out of your shell a little bit after last week's whole debacle, which is really good, and I commend you for that, and I'm proud of you for that, because I know that it's not easy. And I think that a lot of you could be overcoming a lot of insecurities and, even reaching out to people for help or for advice or for general company. And if you're not, then I think you're being encouraged to do that. So just take that into consideration. It could also be that someone who is a King of Pentacles, so maybe an earth sign is trying to help you out at this time. Materially, maybe they are helping you out, and maybe there's someone that you can rely on, and maybe there's someone that you basically aren't scared of reaching out to, which is good. There's that reliability, there's that dependability, there is that trust, essentially. And I like that. And I think that this person is going to help you basically kind of just come out of a drought. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is like coming out of a drought, whether it's a material drought, whether you're not doing very well materially, or if it has to do with stability and with trust and being grounded. So it could be either one of those. And then we have the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is really good. Generally, it's pretty good. It talks about, someone who is very young and wants to take a lot of action, and they have good intentions, but they don't necessarily go about it the right way. They have a very clear goal. I like that the card is upright rather than reversed, because that tells me that there's a clear goal that you have in mind. And I think that now that you're feeling a little bit more stable, now that you're feeling a little bit more grounded, you've created a goal and now you want to reach towards it, but I think that you need to come up with a better strategy. Someone's coming. Okay, never mind. You have to come up with a better strategy. And you have to have a little bit more tact. You definitely need tact and you need strategy. You can't just be barging in. What I keep imagining is like someone barging into someone's home, and like freaking them all out, when in reality you just have good news, but you're just freaking everyone out because you just like barged in, like without any permission, without knocking the door, without ringing the doorbell. You know what I mean? So you need to have tact. You need to have a specific strategy that doesn't overwhelm other people and that doesn't overwhelm you, okay? And then we have the Four of Pentacles reverse, which is definitely you getting out of your comfort zone. And it could be that even though you're getting out of this Five of Pentacles reverse, or that you're getting out of this Five of Pentacles energy where, recently you've been feeling a little bit insecure, or maybe not feeling all that financially stable, or, being really closed off, or feeling as though you were closed off and isolated and feeling very unwelcome. And, you're growing from that. Even though you've been growing from that, I feel like there are still some tendencies that you're clinging onto, which, is understandable, because to me it kind of seems more like a coping mechanism at this point. And so right now what I see is that if you want to make any sort of progress, I think you have to kind of just slowly but surely let go of these kind of old tendencies, these old coping mechanisms, because you don't need them anymore. You're no longer going through that specific situation, or you're exiting that situation. So it's time to just let go, okay? Just let go of the old tendencies. And, if this signifies the fact that you haven't been able to spend money because you didn't have much of it, and so now you have developed, the habit of being really frugal, this is telling me that it's time to be a little bit more generous and not so miserly, because, of course, as that mechanism, you might have been trying to save as much money as you can, because you were just fending off for yourself, essentially. Like, it was all for survival. But I think that now you're kind of growing out of that, and you're becoming this King of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles is helping you, where you're becoming a lot more financially stable, or materially stable, or just more dependable and practical. You can loosen up the reins on the money. You can loosen up the reins on material things, okay? So there's that, okay? I feel like you're making a lot of progress, really, because I do have the Knight of Swords. So I feel like you're making a lot of leaps and bounds, which is really good, but make sure not to tire yourself out, and make sure that, you're good, don't overwhelm yourself too quickly. Drink your water. Okay, let's see. I already mentioned the comfort zone thing. I mentioned the frugality. If there's anything that you're clinging onto, whether it is a coping mechanism or a bad habit, or if you are clinging onto any sort of material things from your past, kind of as a way to reminisce on what you did go through, I think it's time to kind of just like let that go. And again, you know, you don't have to hoard everything. You don't have to continue hoarding because you're no longer in this kind of financial or material drought. You know, you can loosen up, like I said, on the reins. So there's that. And then we have the High Priestess and the Hierophant. So you could be dealing with a Pisces, Scorpio, Capricorn, or Taurus this week, especially Capricorn or Taurus, because we do have the King of Pentacles here. So you could be dealing with an earth sign who could be helping you out and helping you become a little bit more stable. Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. This to me, this King of Pentacles, if it's not you and if it's someone else, if it's an earth sign specifically, I feel like this person is kind of a mentor towards you. I feel like they're becoming a mentor and they're trying to teach you a little bit how to be a lot more stable with your money, how to be a lot more practical with your finances and with material things and with budgeting and maybe even helping you with some sort of like groundedness or like self-esteem and feeling worth, like that you have a lot of worth, or helping you with like reputation or appearances and stuff like that. So it could be that. And I feel like you are learning. You're learning, but you're still the knight, you know, you're still making a little bit of impulsive decisions and you have to learn the tact, like I mentioned, you have to learn strategy. That's what that is for me. Okay, yeah, all right, that makes sense. So this to me is like more of a mentor kind of relationship to me. Okay, got you. Which is good because, you know, you're not like a page where it's very, very young. You're becoming a knight, and then eventually you'll become, you know, a king or queen, right? So that makes sense. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so we have the High Priestess, which talks about a spiritual connection. It could also talk about intuition, secrets, anything that's below the surface, you know, anything below like the subconscious layer, anything that is not seen with the naked eye directly. So maybe you have a spiritual connection with this King of Pentacles, or maybe they have Pisces in their birth chart, or if they have Scorpio in their birth chart. Or if they're just someone incredibly intuitive and someone who was kind of drawn to you for some reason. I think for some of you, this person like kind of popped into your life at the right moment, and it was almost kind of like fate that drew you guys together. And the Hierophant talks about structure, and it talks about commitment, it talks about spirituality, but it's more so just, it's not, I don't want to say spirituality. I mean, it's religion, sure. But it's more so commitment and structure. So I feel like, again, this is just talking about how you're gaining a little bit of that structure. You're gaining a little bit of that dependability through this King of Pentacles. Again, it could be a Capricorn or a Taurus. But I feel like maybe you have like a deep connection with this person. And I also feel like the High Priestess is just saying, like, you know, listen to your gut and do what you think is right, or what you feel is right. Not what you think is right, but what you feel in your gut is right. But like, listen to your intuition. But I feel like maybe this person is just like an incredibly intuitive person. Also, another thing that I would have to say is like, don't rush into like any sort of like legal contract, or don't rush into any sort of like financial commitment. You know, if you think that something comes off a little bit fishy, just be aware of that. Just be very aware of that. Be very, very aware of that. And we also have the King of Cups reversed here, which I think just signifies the King of Swords that I mentioned in the last video. They are coming through in this video, in this reading. And with the Hierophant, you're still probably committed to them, but I think with the High Priestess, you definitely have to listen to your intuition and listen to the advising, or the advisement? The advice that you've been given by this King of Pentacles, and, you know, be more practical rather than emotional, and look at things from a more realistic and pragmatic perspective rather than with your emotions, because this person still comes through as very emotionally detached, very cold, not having a lot of tact. And maybe that's the thing that you guys are kind of clinging on to together, is like, oh, well, both of us don't really have a lot of tact or strategy, and so that's why we get along so well. And, you know, both of us are a little bit of a mess, and so that's why we're so drawn to each other. But I think now it's kind of time to just like let that go a little bit and enjoy your time alone, I think. Yeah, and kind of just balance out the scales between you two and just all of that, okay? Alright, Sagittarius, that is all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Like the video, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you next week, okay? Bye.